Hi, I'm Joe, and welcome to the sequel of my first Lego set. As you may have seen in a video I posted a couple of weeks ago, I decided to try and find a copy of the first Lego set I ever had, 775 Firefighter. And here's what I got, and I really haven't touched it since then, but I have committed to trying to either restore or rehabilitate at least this set, and started going through the inventory and looking at it a little closer to look for what all pieces are missing, what all is damaged beyond repair, and eventually give it a good cleaning. So the most obvious things I know were missing were the red rail on this side. This green piece here is broken and not original style, because the original green piece would be closed on the top instead of hollow. I also found that all of these are supposed to be like water cannons, and they're all supposed to spin. And the other thing that's supposed to spin is this part on top here. And it originally didn't, because instead of one of these plates that has the turning plate on the inside, it had just a regular 2x2 plate, which I've moved over here, and this one doesn't turn anymore. So there's no replacement part there. And I mentioned before how some of these black pieces are damaged. A lot of these white pieces are not in great shape. I don't know if you can see how they're either scratched up and or yellowing. So I had thought about trying to retrobright them, which is when you put white plastic that's been yellowed into a tub of hydrogen peroxide and put UV light on it. But I would actually have to buy some stuff for that. It wouldn't be terribly expensive, but to get 12% hydrogen peroxide and an actual UV light that would be powerful enough to do anything, that'd be a little bit more than I want to invest right now, because I'm not committed to collecting vintage Lego. This is probably going to be one of the only older Lego sets I ever get, but it's something I'll consider if I change my mind later on. And of course, there are just some pieces that really just need some good old-fashioned soap and water to make it look a little better. So, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and try and make this look as good as it could possibly look, or as close to the original as it could. So I went through my own collection of spare pieces and found replacement white pieces for most things. And then I went to Bricklink for the rest, which is just a few more bigger white pieces that I didn't have in my spares. A couple of black plates to replace the ones that are in here that are broken. I got another one of these turning pieces that'll be able to make all of the cannons and the little radar dish or communications dish or whatever this is on top spin. And then I got the red railing to replace the piece that goes over here. And then finally I went ahead and sprung for the pricey green translucent piece that actually is closed on top. Oh, and one more piece I almost forgot to mention is this 2x3 trans clear piece, because the window here at the front of the boat is supposed to have two of those, and it only has one, and the other one is a 2x2 and a 1x2. But before I start installing the replacement pieces, I'm going to go ahead and take apart what we got and give it a good cleaning. Probably just use some soap and water and an old toothbrush to get as much dirt off of it as I can. Okay, I said I wasn't going to go to this much trouble, but I decided I am going to try retrobrighting some of these pieces that have some yellowing. We've got a lot of these white pieces here, which I actually have replacements for, but there are a couple of clear ones that I feel like would benefit from this also. So I'm going to give this a shot. So this is my first time trying this. I've seen other videos on Jang's channel and other channels, and including some that aren't even related to Lego, where this is actually a reasonably simple process if it works, where I'm just going to put my pieces in a little container here, submerge them in hydrogen peroxide. In this case, I'm using a solution that is 3%. You can also get 12% at the hardware store, but I saw in Jang's video that he used 3%, so I'm going to go with that. And then, of course, I've got rubber gloves and safety goggles because you don't want this stuff splashing where it's not supposed to. And let me see if I can get here on the camera. It is really hard to tell on camera here. The brick on the left is regular white. The brick on the right is one of the old ones that came with the boat. So we'll do a comparison after I'm done to see if the retrobrighting here did any good. So there we are. We're going to let it sit for most of the afternoon. We have about 6 hours left of sunlight, and I'm going to come back out and stir things up a little bit just to make sure that these get done on all sides. I've been told that as the process works, you'll see little air bubbles come out. I should also mention I did clean all my parts with soap and water before I even started this process. We'll be back to check this out later this afternoon. Okay, we're at the 3-hour mark, and you can see it looks almost fizzy in there. The little bubbles everywhere, but I'm going to go ahead and turn these and let them go for a little bit longer. Okay, so after about 5 hours, I went ahead and ended the retrobright experiment and rinsed off the pieces thoroughly with water, and they still need to dry a bit, but while there's still daylight, I wanted to see if you could tell which of these pieces were retrobrighted. One of these is a new piece. The rest have been retrobrighted. And see if you can figure out which one the new piece is. Turns out the new piece is this one right here, which to my eyes doesn't look any different than all the rest. So I think the retrobright experiment was mostly a success. This one here is a slightly off color, but it also looks like it has seen some wear and tear, as have some of these 1x1s here. So I'm going to go ahead and let these finish drying off the rest of the way, and then we'll start to reassemble the boat. Now I also put these clear pieces in just to see, because they looked like they were a little bit brown. This one's not even going to go in the final model because this was one of the pieces that was used to substitute for a 2x3, but I figured it looked a little bit brownish, so I thought I'd put it in and see if it made any difference. This piece here was probably the worst looking one of the clear pieces, and because I didn't bring any to compare to, it still looks a little bit on the brown side, but we'll see when we put it back together. And in case you wonder, how do I know what the difference is between the old brick and the new brick, is the old brick here is this one on the left. It does not have these little tiny ridges here. There's two on all four sides of the inside of the brick. The old brick, it's all smooth. Okay, we've got everything as clean as it's going to get, so let's rebuild. All right, Now I think we're done, and this is going to be as restored as this is going to get. I promise I mean that this time. You can see that we've got pretty good looking white pieces all the way around. We've got all three of the red rails. We have the correct red and green cylinder pieces here on the top. The top here, this little radar dish spins like it's supposed to. All of these spin. And it's pretty clean. So the retrobrighting, I think, did its job the way it was supposed to. In fact, some of the pieces that I bought new didn't actually look as good as the ones that I retrobrighted, so I just kept the old pieces. And of course, I went ahead and replaced a lot of the white ones with new pieces, but I'm going to hang on to the pieces that came with the set because you never know, maybe I can find the pieces to build that other hull. But plus I want to hang on to them. We've got also the two correct 2x3 windshield pieces, and I think this probably looks better than actually the one that I played with 40 plus years ago. So thanks for coming to part 2 of this Firefighter boat set 775, and remember, today is a good day to build.